Hi, I'm Sue.
I'm Julia.
Welcome to episode 65 of Whole Lotta Craft. On today's episode, we'll catch up with the ladies during their summer excursions and also learn how to make lavender wands with that pretty summer flower. Join us.
It's July? We're still in
Maybe.
July. We're still in July.
Maybe not. It's summer, that's all that counts.
Yes, it is. It's nice.
It's warm, very warm, and so it could be July, it could be
Yeah.
August.
Somewhere in there. My kids are asking, is it midsummer yet? And then we had this whole discussion about how summer really doesn't start till the end of June, so technically it's not midsummer till August. It got way more technical than I think it needed to be. And they've been
That is true, though.
Yeah, they've been very analytical lately, my family. And I just like slowly like, okay, this is too much. We're getting into too much detail, and I don't want to go there right now.
My dad announced yesterday that it was the middle of summer and it was half over
Yes,
for my kids, and they were like, "What? What?"
that would be. Yeah, we kind of realized that too. It's halfway back to school.
No, it's half full of fun so far.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, we had done a little. We already bought backpacks because they were on sale.
Yeah.
So we did a little from there. So I'm okay. My oldest is having anxiety dreams about 7th grade. A little
It's
bit.
just like 6th grade.
I know. I'm sure it's going to be fine. It's because we don't know what to wear for the gym uniform.
Oh,
That's what I think.
it's so easy. It's black shorts and a white shirt.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
yeah.
the
I'm sure
dumbest
it's
gym
easy.
uniform ever. Why would you make teenagers wear white shirts?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
How about red? That's our school color.
Yeah, she's a little nervous, so we've been dealing with that as summer kind of moves along. But otherwise, what have you been doing? You were away, right?
I was away. When I'm away, I actually do some creating. I made this bracelet. We worked in copper, so this is copper gauge wire that we formed, and we balled the ends with a torch.
Cool.
And then hammered it, and then made these little figure eights.
So you melted it to make balls?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
It's really fun. It's really fun to melt wire. It gets really red hot, like super hot. Like when you go to a blacksmith.
Okay, yes.
And then there's a certain point at which it goes to the left, it goes to the right, and then it goes shoop up the middle. And if you're not careful, you end up with this one, which I made my class. See that melted all the way up.
Okay.
It's not supposed to look like that.
Okay.
So yeah, that was fun. And we made rings. I made a whole bunch of rings.
Wow.
If I can get them off now. Which is really just copper wire. Actually, that was one of my blanks. That one I didn't finish.
Yes.
But copper wire that we then soldered closed. This one ended up being a little bit big, so then I wrapped some wire around it to make it fit.
That's neat. That's a neat idea.
And then this one I made, I don't know if they're called puzzle rings or what, but they're just 3 pieces that are attached. So that was what I challenged myself to do. Nobody else made that.
That's fun. I have one like that, but it's got 6 pieces and it's silver color. It's fun that they fit nice on your finger. They roll really nice.
Yes. So that was interesting because when you solder, you want it to be flat, but then they all have to be attached to each other. So it was a little bit of a challenge. So I learned some stuff. Cool. And then I made this little pinky ring too that I put a little design in.
Oh, fun.
I made a bracelet that looked like that last year.
Yes, I remember that.
So I did that.
Cool.
And we also did, we do all kinds of crafty stuff. I was working on watercolors. Not that I am in any way a painter.
Well, yeah, but your stuff looks like real things.
It looks like real.
So, unlike some other people's.
This is a picture of my dog.
Yeah, it does.
Indiana, come. Come here. Come here. Come here, buddy. I don't know if he'll come up here so we can see if this looks like you. Come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Put your paws up. Come on. There you go. Turn around. Hey.
He's like, I smell.
Look.
Oh,
Did
anyway,
it? Oh,
it's a yellow lab.
he doesn't really. jump up or like
Yeah.
that. But that was him. So I took
Yeah,
a picture
nice.
of him, and then we saw these dragonflies mating,
Mm-hmm.
and we went out. We were kayaking out, and there was a mooring ball, and there was a rope.
Yeah.
And you know when the seaweed grows, or the plants in the lake grow, and then they get the flowers on them. There's little, it's like pinkweed or something.
Okay.
And it sticks up. The flowers just stick up, and you're like, oh, there's a whole bunch of seaweed there.
Yes.
Or lakeweed. And so we went over to this mooring ball thinking there was all this lakeweed there. No, it was all the dragonflies. There must have been 30 dragonflies sitting on the rope, and they're all sticking up. And so we thought, from far away, we thought it was seaweed.
That's
but it
funny.
was really funny. Yeah, it was really cool. So and we saw a lot of sandpipers. So anyway, that's what I worked on. I have these dreams that I'm going to do more watercolors. Not that I will ever do more than just play, but we'll see.
You could. You're quite, you get quite good.
It's sort of like, hey, wow, that worked. Just leave it. Don't add anything else to it. It might mess it up.
Everything I paint either looks like a cartoon or an abstract.
And that's your style.
Yeah.
I say that's my style.
I did printmaking in college where you carve the wood and then you print it. And I was so proud. I did like one, there was a sailboat and it was 4 different prints and each one had a different color. And so it was really like I had to match everything up and I was so proud that it matched. And then I made one that was like circle and a square and a triangle, I think. And I just went thonk, because I had to get something done. That's the one that got the A. The rest of them were all like C's. My teacher. And I think maybe it was because subjective, you're grading. I don't know how art teachers do it, honestly, because I think art is so subjective that if you see something, be like, oh, I love that. That's got to be an A, but the technique is completely off.
Right.
I don't know how. I would not be a good art teacher, but yeah, apparently he was a very geometric guy, and he graded based on his thoughts, I think. So now to this day, I'm like, I don't think I'm a very good artist for realism because I never got an A on that.
Oh, maybe you just need to retry.
Maybe.
Or maybe you just need to embrace that you're an abstract artist.
But that's funny because that's like my least favorite style of art. Like if I look at it, that's not what I'm drawn to at all.
Interesting. I like realism.
Yeah, I much prefer something that looks like
something else.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
Interesting.
Anyway, so I'm not a painter, but you are.
Not
That's good. I'll keep on working with the textiles instead.
There you go. What have you been working on?
Well, I haven't finished anything in a while, but I've been continuing to work on my doodler, which is for the knit-along for my shop.
Oh, pretty.
So I'm sorry.
I was just, yeah.
Yeah. This is, I have one more wedge to go before this section is done.
And then that's different. It's just tangled.
Yeah, and then I think, I haven't read through it carefully, but I believe you pick up the pink and you work across the top with the design. And then I'm not sure how the blue gets added in because I haven't read that far yet. But that's my doodler thus far.
I love the colors.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. It's still, even though these are huge sections now, they take a day to do, it's still really fun. It's just a neat design, like a neat construction. So that's what I've been enjoying the most. So if you guys want to join me on a doodler, you can come. Actually, I'll open the thread in our group too, but it's on the Knitter's Edge group. If you care to join me on making a doodler.
Nice.
So that's that. And then last time I talked to you guys about the sock that I bought, the 9.
So many things right there.
Oh, I didn't get that in there. I almost put it in some food. But anyway, I talked about my little 9-inch needles, but I couldn't find my bag. So this is the sock on the 9-inch needles, and there's the little circle.
Have you decided yet if you like them?
No.
Or you were unsure last time?
I am not sure, but you could probably see how my gauge is not, like my other socks were always everything's uniform. And here I feel like there's a lot of, yeah, it's not uniform at all. See it like in there, and not that that's a bad thing, like maybe I just need to practice the technique more, and maybe this will make me loosen up a little bit, but it's definitely a looser gauge, and it's definitely not as even. And
but maybe that's okay for socks?
I'm
Maybe
sure,
just
yeah.
stretch?
I'm sure it'll be fine in the long run. I'm just like, oh, that's not usually what I do, so it's kind of throwing me off a little bit, making me feel more like a beginner or a student versus somebody who's supposed to be I guess we all have something to learn, right?
That's right. We should all challenge ourselves.
So yeah, so I'm going to keep on going with this. I haven't gotten very far because I've been working on the other one more, but I'm going to keep going, and maybe by the time I'm done, I'll do more of a continental knitter. Because you have to hold it this way. I have to hold it with my left and knit like this, rather than the other way.
Interesting.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just too small. I can't hold the needles right with the way my hand is positioned. My middle finger's off the end of the needle, and it's much more hard to work to hold it, to support it there. Try to do it English.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's what I've learned. Tiny needles work better with continental. And you guys give me your opinion if you have a better way of doing this on these little guys, because this is something new to me, and it's kind of fun, but yet
Sounds like it's frustrating too.
it is a little bit, because this is supposed to be my knitting I don't have to think about. It's just knitting. I
Right.
should not have to think about this. So for me to sit here and be like, am I doing this right? Does it look okay? Is there a better way? Is
that to know where you started?
yeah. But I don't really have to do that either, but I did because I have this down here. But I did. So anyway, so there it is. That's my little sock. I do love the yarn though. This is a 716 knit yarn. I just don't remember the name of it. It's really fun.
That is fun.
A year or
There's
so.
such neon green in it.
I know, it's
Or
like
yellow. Is it yellow?
a highlighter. It's yellow.
It is like, it's going to be 80 socks.
Yeah. We started watching Stranger Things last night. A little side
Oh,
note.
my husband started watching.
Yeah.
We can partake over
It's a very 80s-esque mystery. It's kind of cool. We were enjoying it. Felt like I was watching Tron mixed with some kind, because the music was very Tron-like, and the storyline was very like I don't know, the old. All that's coming to mind is Magnum PI, and that is not what I'm thinking of for real. But like the old mystery shows, the scary, maybe X-Files kind of idea.
Okay. Alright.
Yeah.
So, we're having some gooseberry fool. You okay over there? Did you get fooled? I don't know why it's called a fool.
I just spilled it all down in front of my face. Sorry, I think I'm okay now.
Okay, maybe that's why it's called that.
Maybe. It's so tart, it made me spit it right back up. No, I'm kidding. It's really good, actually. But it is more tart than I expected it to be.
Yes, it is very tart. It's gooseberries.
Mm.
And, there's not a whole lot you can do with gooseberries, but I had to pick them, of course, when I went to the pick your own place.
Yeah, we picked a ton of blueberries. I still have a ton left. I need to go pick some more.
I need to go pick some more, too.
I made a whole bunch of jam, like freezer jam, which was really fun. Super easy, really fun.
So, I came across this recipe for gooseberries. And it's just basically gooseberries with sugar and a little water that you cook so they explode. And then you mush them, and then this is stirred into Greek yogurt. You're supposed to also add, this is an English recipe, you're supposed to add double cream, which apparently we don't have in America. And there's a lot of very serious opinions about that, let me tell you. Because I went online to see, what is double cream and can I get something simple?
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, we don't have it. So I was going to make like whipped cream, because you're supposed to use double cream with some more sugar in it, and put that in too, which I can't even imagine, because I think this is good.
Yeah, but I suppose it would
be even sweeter
maybe
and
a little more.
fluffier.
Right. That could be good though. More like an ambrosia, maybe.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I love summer fruits.
Yes.
Can't get enough of summer fruits.
Anyway, little side note.
Yeah.
We can post the recipe for gooseberry fool in case anyone wants some and wants to be fooled. Again,
drop it on your face.
did you still?
No, I almost did, but I didn't. Well, we didn't. We forgot to mention. I wanted to let you guys know there's a few bags, and actually the skein of yarn from the pictures, from the sheet pictures contest we were in, that people have not claimed yet.
Okay.
So if you have not watched,
We want to give you prizes.
Yeah. If you haven't watched the last, it's episode 62 and 63. If you haven't watched them, go back and watch them, because we would love to hear your name called live. But yeah, we really want to get those out to everybody. So if you have not watched, please do.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel either. And if you want to subscribe to our blog and join our group, I'll be exciting
a lot of things you can join.
Yeah, because we're still trying to get into being able to review more products that we can then pass along to you guys. I think that would be super fun.
Yes.
I love to try new things.
Yes. Today we're going to try something new and different that I have not done before, I've seen before, called lavender wands.
Yeah, I'm curious to see this. I don't have a concept in my head how they work.
Well, it's basically our farmer's market had left fresh lavender for sale. I've tried to grow lavender and not been very successful with it either. It needs just the right place. It really like sandy soil and lots of sun. But they were selling lavender, and so I bought some because I couldn't resist.
Okay.
And I've always seen lavender wands, but you can use them in your drawer or, you know, hang them up just so it smells like lavender, and they last for years and years and years.
Cool, that would be nice to learn how to do.
So we're going to do that next, so stay with us.
All right.
For today's DIY, we are going to make lavender wands. Lavender wands last a really long time. The smell in them can last for years and years, and in fact, when you start to feel like it's not smelling anymore, you can kind of squish it a little bit and it smells like lavender, and it's so wonderful. And so this is a way to dry your lavender and keep it. You can stick it in a drawer, you can stick it in a closet, or anywhere that you want to ward off pests and have a nice fresh smelling area. So what you'll need to make a lavender wand is fresh lavender, some ribbon, some thin ribbon, a scissors, and some twine as well, or a thin thread. You need to make sure your lavender is fresh, because if it's not fresh and it's dried, these are some that I had bought a week before and I'd let them dry, and I don't know if you can see the difference in the color. The fresh ones are really nice and green, and these have started to fade to that green-gray. You can also tell by snapping it. These still bend a little bit, and possibly I can make lavender wands out of them, but you have to be really super careful because they do break off. And in fact, you can see on the end of my lavender wand, a couple of them did break. I was able to still weave them in, but it's easier to work with fresh lavender that's still nice and green and very flexible. What you want to do is take your lavender and you want to strip off the leaves at the bottom, because you won't be needing those. If you'd like, you can take these little pieces, take them off, you can pull them off, or you can cut them off, and you can dry those if you want to for potpourri or for something else. Now when you do this, you need an odd number. If you use an even number, the weaving won't work correct. So you do need to start with an odd number of pieces of lavender that you've stripped off the pieces. Once you have your lavender all prepped, you're going to get it ready to start making your bottle. You want to take, actually some of these have these extra little pieces of lavender blossoms down farther on them. You want to take those off too. You want to leave all the heads together when you're making the lavender wand. So you want to take off all these little pieces that are so far away from the head of the flowers. And then you want to try and line the little heads up together. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your ribbon. So the width of your ribbon determines how long you're going to be wrapping for. With this yellow one, I used a little bit thicker ribbon, so it didn't take me as long. This one's going to take me a little longer. But you want something nice and flat. I'm going to start by just wrapping it around over top of the twine. getting it as close to those flower heads as I can. These stems and fold them over that ribbon. So as I flip these over, I start to weave. So that one's an over. This one is an under. Flip it up. I'm going to take my ribbon over top of that one. Now I flip this one up so the ribbon is underneath it. Flip the next one up. Making these is just like starting anything, starting peyote stitch, starting knitting. The first 2 rows are always the hardest because you have to establish the pattern. But you're just basically going over under like you would with any other weaving. Okay, so that one's over. The ribbon is under this one. Pull the ribbon to the side and flip this up. Now the ribbon is over. The trick with this is that you want to get all your stems flipped up before you get back to where you started with your original one. It does get a little tangly in some of these stems. This one. Flip this back. Flip this up. Flip this one up. So we've started here then, our first row. And we've completed that. The reason that you need an odd number is because of the weaving. If you have an even number, it won't start on the next row and do the opposite, because obviously, as we all know from weaving, if you went over it last time, you want to go under it this time, and if you have an even number, that won't work. So now I'm going to go over this guy, and now I'm going to go under this. I find it easier to just wrap my ribbon around and pull it nice and flat. You want to keep it also nice and tight. The second row is always a little tricky because you got to keep, your guys want to go in every different direction and you just have to keep a handle on them. This takes a little bit of patience to get through. So now I'm going to go over top of that one and pull this guy out and under this stem. Because these guys aren't secure. As you see, this stem is trying to run away from me. They're not secured in place yet, so they do try to get away from you. You want to also just keep the flowers, pushing those flowers back up. Okay? So now, put that guy there, over, and under this one. As I said before, you want to use these nice green stems, because if you use the ones that are not green, when I did it with ones that had started to dry, you had to be really super careful you didn't snap them off. It still has that great smell in it, but they are a little bit tougher to work with because they snap in half really, really easily. I like to do this outside because it does make a little bit of a mess with the flowers coming off as you're working. And as you can see, they like to cross. These ones that aren't secured, that they like to cross, and sometimes you can get confused. So just take your time with these first few wraps here. You also want to make sure you keep your ribbon flat, that it's always going in the same flat direction so that it stays nice and even. So you can see that once you get past those first 2 rows, it's just really basic weaving, over, under, over, under. You know, if the little flowers are sticking out, just use your nail and tuck them back in there. If after you're done weaving you realize there's flowers sticking out, you can either just pull them out or trim them off with the scissors so they're not sticking out. Now this is going to take me a little while, and I have to say this is actually very, if you have the time to just sit and weave, this is so relaxing. Maybe because you're smelling lavender the whole time, but it isn't actually a really relaxing activity. But once you get past these flowers and you weave all the way up to here, and if you decide like, wow, I just don't want to weave that far, you could always trim these back and make it smaller. But once you've woven all the way up to here, and you want to keep that weaving even, make sure you're pushing it down next to each other. When you come to this point, I wrap it around and pull it, do a little slip knot, pull it tight, and then you can wrap the ribbon all the way up as far as you want. I trim these off. You can make this as long or as short as you'd like. And I put a little knot in it so you can easily hang it up. But it's a fun little craft to do that'll keep your drawer smelling good for a long time. So here it is, final product. I finished all the weaving. Cool. Tied it off here at the top, and then I wrapped it around. You can basically make this as long as you choose. Mm-hmm. My lavenders were way out to here. I know somebody else who made some of these, and her lavender was shorter, so her lavender one only ended up being about that big.
Okay, wow, so it really compacted a lot. Like I expected this section here to be, much bigger.
Right. It does.
Wow, it smells wonderful.
It does, because you're just squishing the flowers in. And if they're starting to already dry, then it's easier to squish them.
Okay.
It's fun to work on, too.
It reminds me of going to like one of the working farms. They have like the historical working farms. I always smell this. Like they must use it to scent their houses or something.
I want to go to a lavender farm. There's one about an hour south of here.
That would be fun. That would be neat to see.
I think that there's one actually that maybe comes from the farm market.
Okay.
I feel like I've read that recently, but I can't stop smelling it. But apparently these are supposed to last for years, so if it seems like it dried out, you just kind of move it a little bit because all the flowers are trapped inside, and all that good scent is trapped inside, and the stems still smell too.
Fun. I'll have to try that.
Yeah.
Are you still selling it?
No, maybe not this week.
Darn it. Very fun. Well, that's it for us today, and we thank you guys for joining us as always, and don't forget to check out all the different locations where we are.
Yes, and make sure that you don't have a prize to be playing. Yeah, we want to send our prizes out to you.
Yes, please do. We love to send things out. So check us out at awholelottofcraft.com, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.